So you're ready?
Welcome to episode 11 of Already Said Black podcast.
That wasn't my best one. I'm gonna be honest with you. I set you up too well. I set you up too well for it. But
Yeah.
yeah. Welcome to episode 11. We got actually a lot of interesting things to talk about. This was a this was like last week. I feel like was the time for gaming news.
Yeah, we had a lot of interesting stuff to talk about
We
last time.
actually had to take things out this time. Like we
Yeah.
had so much that we were like, okay, we can't cover all of this.
Yeah, quite a few developments within the
So
past week.
the first thing we're going to talk about, which is we've talked about Skull and Bones before, haven't we?
Yeah, a few times, I know I've been kind of looking forward to it a little bit. It's with them, what was it? They're modeling it after like Assassin's Creed for Black Flag, and we adored that game.
Yeah, that was one of my top Assassin's Creed games for sure.
hmm
But
Absolutely.
I can't say I'm surprised. Ubisoft dropping the ball on another game. So we have some leaks here that have been backed up by leaked gameplay footage of Skull and Bones that pretty much says all that is in this game is purely ship combat, right? There's no exploring, there's no getting off the ship, there's no like there's player to player combat, but like or ship to ship combat. There's no player to player combat, so you can't board ships. Um there's none of that. So
No sword fights on land or
not using
anything.
a blunderbuss to out
You
there and
can't
just start
you
like
can't you can't swing to your opponent's ship and just have
so
this amazing battle.
it's just all ship to ship combat, even to the point to where gathering resources to upgrade your ship is a button click.
I think they're basing that a little bit off of I don't know if you remember, but in Black Flag and
There'd be
as
stuff in
well
the
as
water and you go up and click it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, as well as in Rogue, like there would be just like piles of wood and you just like, oh, and you just drive by it and click a button and then you acquire it, which was the most mundane way to collect resources in that game.
The
And
only
that
thing that
now it's the only way to collect resources in this game. Just
the
to
only
press the
thing that's
button.
exciting about this though that I actually like is the morale, like your crew morale,
Yeah.
and being able to like get like food and drinks and stuff, and it keeps your crew happy, and there can be a mutiny, like that's really really cool.
Well,
But the rest of it, like I like the different kinds of ships. I like that there's different. You can build a ship to kind of play into like your how you want to play the game. I like all that. But the big thing that we were talking about is like, yeah, this game, like some of these things seem cool, but Sea of Thieves is out there.
yeah. Um, and one of like one thing about the morale system that I'm kind of like worried about is that it's literally just going to be. I feel like it's going to get annoying. To be honest, I'm kind of picturing like a morale meter, and you just have to collect like food and stuff to keep it up. And I don't think what is it like when it hits zero? It's just like game over, restart from checkpoint. Like
I don't know. There's stuff that I'm still interested to see about this game.
yeah,
Um,
to be fair, it's like these are uh I mean, these are just like leaks. We haven't like seen anything for ourselves. To be fair,
Skull and yeah, well, I watched the video.
yeah.
So there is a Skull and Bones leaked gameplay video that I
Mhm.
watched. Um, and it just to me seems like the development hell that Skull and Bones was going through is clearly showing in the gameplay. Like I don't think that this game is going to be very exciting. We're still gonna play it and probably review it.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't see the game having enough. I don't
I'm not
see
looking forward to it as much as I was when it was
no,
first
and I was
announced.
really looking forward to it.
How long ago was it when this game was announced? I feel like it's been forever.
2017? Yeah.
Good
The
lord.
game first announced E3 2017. So it's been a
Lord.
long time. We reported earlier on Ubisoft having all these problems and possibly looking to sell the company. And there's like a bunch of investment firms that are really, really looking into purchasing it. And honestly, with what I've read about it and what I've watched about Skull and Bones, they're better off just scrapping the game. Like
Hmm.
I think this game is going to be a huge letdown to people who are looking forward to it. Pirate stuff is like people love to play it. Like people love Sea of Thieves, people loved Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and I think they're missing why people like those games, right? Like I like Sea of Thieves because I like grouping up with a bunch of people, being able to sail as a person, not as the ship,
Hmm.
and being able to jump off on islands, being able to go find treasure, being able to have like the PvP fights. Like I don't see a reason to buy this game as it is right now. And maybe hopefully even the leaked gameplay is, I hope, super early build, right? And they have
Yeah.
added these things. I don't see Ubisoft with the way that their games have been going and the way the studio has been operating. I don't see them adding more than what we see. I think that's the game.
It sounds like um like the RPG like system that they use for the newer Assassin's Creed game. I feel like it could have done well in this game.
Yeah. Well, see, the big thing with Ubisoft is, they'll add all those things into games that don't need it, and then when a game needs it, they don't add it.
um but it sounds like it's uh you'd be, if you're looking to play a pirate game, you'd be better off playing like Sea of Thieves, or heck, even Assassin's Creed 4 or Assassin's Creed Rogue.
Yeah,
uh
because Rogue was
like
actually really,
that's
really good. People sleep on
Oh, I
Rogue,
love
but that's a good game.
it. It's a lot of fun, but yeah, uh not a lot of good news coming out on that front. A
There's
little
a lot
disappointed.
of bad things happening to Ubisoft lately.
Yeah, seems like, well, I
So,
mean, potentially good with like a possible acquisition that could probably help it.
well, but unless they get like the acquisition is to like just a investment firm, like we talked about that before. That's the one thing I don't want to happen,
Hmm.
right? I want a studio that's going to really love those IPs to buy it, not just because what they're going to do is they're just going to squeeze as much money as they can and they're just going to shut the studio down. And that's
Yeah.
definitely true if EA buys it.
Oh, good lord.
But speaking of companies buying other companies,
There it is.
we are going to move. That was a great transition. We're
Hmm.
going to move into a lot of articles that are companies acquiring or looking to sell off their IPs. We officially entered into the year of acquisitions. So Warner Brothers reportedly selling game studios.
Yeah,
Xbox, EA, and Sony are interested.
yeah. Recently, we discussed the Warner Brothers Discovery merger that just happened, and they were looking to bolster.
That
Uh,
word pops up in this article too.
it does. It
Yep.
they mention it, like they were looking to bolster, uh, like the media, like video games, possibly movies and stuff. Um, but it looks like they are planning on selling some of their gaming studios and major IPs.
Which they're looking to sell Batman, Superman, Harry Potter. Um, what was the
Which
other one?
is,
Legacy of Kain.
no, I think that's in the later article.
Oh,
Yeah.
I gave it away.
Um, yeah. Spoiler alert. Um, which I'm really surprised with Harry Potter, considering they have this upcoming game coming out that looks phenomenal.
It does look really, really good. I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan,
Hmm.
as in I never have watched. I don't think I've watched a whole movie all the way through, and I definitely haven't read the books yet. But the game made me want to buy it. Like the trailer and the gameplay of that made me want to get the game.
Hmm.
There's something
So,
about whenever you have a universe, right? Like a Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Star Trek, like all of these like huge IPs, there's something about being able to create your own character and your own story in that universe that is very, very appealing. So we're talking about Warner
Major
Brothers.
major world building.
Yeah, we're talking about Warner Brothers and like the DC, like Batman and Superman and all that kind of stuff. The MMO that they had, I forgot what it was
DC,
called.
DC Universe Online.
Yeah, DC Universe Online. Another really fun game because you got to create your own superhero.
Hmm.
So it is interesting because I feel like this Harry Potter game is about to make them a lot of money.
Yeah, so yeah, that's why I'm a little confused as to why they would want to go ahead and sell off that IP when it seems like they're about to do pretty well for themselves.
And it says, we try not to talk too much on leaks that can't be confirmed, right? And it says that the person who was kind of talking about this couldn't get enough confirmation to actually write a post about it. But this is not the first time that this kind of talk has happened before. Xbox tried to buy the Warner Brothers titles back in 2020. Nothing came of it. And with all of the acquisitions happening and the buying and selling of companies, it seems like this is something that I would definitely believe. Please, dear God, don't sell it to EA or Take Two.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Apparently, it was Microsoft, Sony, EA, and Take Two are all interested. Which, for the love of God, don't sell it to EA or Take Two.
yeah, please pick Microsoft or Sony. I would find it very, very interesting if Sony bought it and would have all those Marvel licenses as well as
Well,
having the DC licenses.
the
But
only
throw it to
yeah,
Insomniac, dude.
the only way I could see it working with EA is if EA let Respawn take over.
Dude, Respawn is definitely, I feel as of right
Respawn kills
now
it.
that's their strongest studio.
Mhm.
So
100%.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like this could be true. Um I would be very, very interested to see like a very, very strong studio picking up all of these IPs to make like a Superman game made in
We're
Unreal Engine
desperately
5.
we're
Come
in
on now.
desperate need. Desperate need for a good Superman game. Like you know me. I love Batman. He's my boy. But we desperately need like a good Superman game. The world deserves it.
I can see why that's a hard game to make though.
Yeah, like just considering like the character himself.
Yeah,
Uh,
like
it,
how do
it,
you
we
scale that?
well, like I've heard a few like good theories, like Superman getting like blasted with like a red kryptonite ray to sap most of his powers away. So you just like nerf Superman and you spend the rest of the game powering him back up.
There's a lot. See, they got to have somebody who will think about stuff like that. I could definitely see Insomniac or
Hmm.
Respawn or one of those like really, really strong studios making a really, really good Superman game and a good Batman game, right? Like I could see it. I could see it working. I just really, even though I think Respawn would make something cool, I could see EA buying it and be like, okay, Respawn, you can go make this game, but we're also going to let another studio make something. It's gonna be garbage.
It
So,
would be an absolute win for Sony to go ahead and acquire this because that would pretty much give them complete control over like the superhero genre of video games.
and they kill it too. Like throw it to Insomniac, dude. Let them expand their studio. Have like an Insomniac Marvel division and an Insomniac DC division, and have them be working on games. Like since I've started to play like the Spider-Man game on PlayStation, it it's so good.
Hmm.
So I can see them making something amazing out of that. But speaking of gaming acquisitions,
There he is.
once again, did Activision Blizzard shareholders approve sale to Microsoft? It's almost 100% done deal.
It is the amount of shares that like approved of this was staggeringly high.
539 million shares in favor with just under 9 million against. Fewer than 1 million abstained from voting.
It's over
So
98%
so they're
voted
all
in
for
favor.
it. There can still be some, I guess they were talking about like scrutinies from like exchange commissions and Federal Trade Commission and all these kind of things, including the EU and China. So there's still possibility of it not happening. But I think with the majority of the shareholders saying that they want it to happen, I definitely think that it's going to happen, right?
Yeah, and this is definitely. Um, I mean, we've said it before. This is a big win for gamers.
It is because Microsoft's been killing it.
Yeah, we're ready to see Bobby Kotick get the boot. Which I mean, he's getting to walk away with a lot. I pulled it up right here. Um, looks like he could potentially walk away with $520 million. Um,
See, but that's 500. What do you say? 520 million.
$520 million.
I would gladly pay him that much money, so we never heard from him again.
Yeah, he really comes across as like one of those corporate suits who really doesn't care about making quality games. He's just in it for the money, not for the passion, not for the love of making art. Like
Though that's like
he's
kind of the story of like every major game studio lately. I feel
Mhm.
like there's been just talking about Activision Blizzard. Like I've really gotten into Overwatch, right? Because I watched the Overwatch 2 stream, and then I was like, well, you know what? I never played it, and I played it, and it's fun. And then I've been watching, so I played a bunch of Overwatch, and then I was watching Overwatch 2 streams, and it's like, dude, this isn't another game. Like, it's like the money hungry. They were like, how can we sell this as a new game? That's what it's like. So Activision and
Yeah,
Blizzard definitely have went down. Like they're just
a
the
shell of their former
studio.
selves.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's sad. Like it's
They
very
were
very sad.
like we're seeing recently just absolute titans of this industry just falling from grace.
Yeah,
Like
Ubisoft, and then you
which
had
yeah, Ubisoft used to be like our favorite developers when we were kids.
absolutely.
Yeah, and Blizzard was probably like the king of video games there for a while, with how successful World of Warcraft was.
Yeah, they were that, and then Overwatch was huge. Hearthstone came out, and that was massive.
Man, do you remember looking forward to Call of Duty games?
That's not been the case for a long time, but I do remember. I do
Once upon
remember.
a time, we would look forward to Call of Duty. Um,
Not
so
anymore.
I would say individuals like Bobby Kotick are like one of the reasons why we started Ready Set Lag.
Absolutely.
We're tired of the corporate greed that comes from people like him.
And it's very, very hard when you have so much money involved in gaming now as a whole. Like we've got studio acquisitions for 68 or whatever it was $1 billion. Ubisoft would sell for hundreds. No, it would sell for billions, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, sell for billions. You've got all of this money in gaming now that there's got to be some kind of pushback on. Like I understand running a business and wanting money, right? Like you have to earn money. I understand that. And I understand that the cost of production, right? Like I get that stuff, but there's got to be some pushback on the decisions being made in these games that are making them terrible. Like I have not looked forward to a game in a long time. Like I look forward to games that are already out now, like games that have been out for a while. Like there's nothing, Ghost Tsushima, like I said, if we would have reviewed that, that would have been a 10 out of 10. That was a blast to play. Ghostwire Tokyo was pretty good, but
Hmm.
I felt let down by a lot of these games coming out.
Yeah. Other than
Elden
Elden
Ring.
Ring,
Yeah, I was
which
going to
was
say
a
Elden Ring was
blast.
amazing.
That was that was genre defining. Can't sing its praises enough.
But that
And it's I guess we would consider it like an honorary 10 out of 10. Like at the time when we reviewed it, it still had problems, but
which
um,
I played it again, and all those problems are kind of gone. So
you you can for those of you listening, Elden Ring, consider it an honorary 10 out of 10 from us.
it's definitely, as of right now, the best game. Man, I'm trying to think. The best game since probably God of War and Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, God of War and I think it was God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2 came out in 2018.
Oh,
And
Red Dead 2
then
was fire.
yeah, super good. Um, Online isn't isn't doing too well.
Well, that's just that's Rockstar, dude.
I,
They've
I
been
want to
focused
say
on Grand Theft Auto.
20 was it 2019 when Ghost of Tsushima came out? I want to say.
It was somewhere around there. So it's been a couple years since a really, really like groundbreaking fun. And we've talked about this before too. A groundbreaking game does not have to be a game that they come out and everything's new. Like all the mechanics are new. It's like, no, no, no. It's like you have to write a really good story. Your mechanics be very good. Like they don't have to be completely different, but they have to be adapted in a new way. And the
Mhm.
graphics have to look, and that was like kind of, you talked about it before. That's why God of War was so great. They didn't really change up everything. Everything was just great at what it was.
Yeah, like you could still feel like that it was a God of War game. Like when you break God of War down, it's essentially like um a hack and slash game, and then you're like, you kill a bunch of enemies, you move on to the next area. And that's essentially what the newer one is, except man, they put a lot more in. They've got I don't know exactly how I feel about the armor system that they had. Um but they threw in some new elements, uh new like styles of like combat, but when you break it down, it's still God of War.
And
But
it was
it's like,
very fun.
oh, it was like it was refreshing to see. It wasn't the same thing, but it wasn't something unrecognizable.
But it was a groundbreaking game.
It absolutely was.
But speaking of studio acquisitions,
Again.
again, Embracer Group enters into agreement to acquire, I'm going to say this wrong, Eidos. That's probably right. That sounds
I've
right.
always I feel like I've always mispronounced the name of that company, but
Well, Eidos, Crystal Dynamics, and Square Enix Montreal. So they now have the rights to Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Thief, Legacy of Kain. That's where I messed up because we've been talking about acquisitions for like the whole week.
it kind of blends together.
More than 50 back catalog games from Square Enix Holding. So once again, studio acquisitions, dude. I think there's a lot of, whenever the Ubisoft news, I feel it coming this year. Whenever Ubisoft gets bought out, that is going to be huge. Like we might have a whole episode dedicated to just all of the titles and IPs, or all the IPs that Ubisoft has. Like this is huge, by the way, because Tomb Raider is a massive game now, right? Like Tomb Raider, the newer ones were fantastic.
Well,
Um,
back in the day, Legacy of Kain was also pretty big. But it was big around like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 era. Um,
Thief was pretty fun.
yeah, Thief was actually considered one of the best stealth games, like from good lord, I think it was a long time ago.
Well, they came out with they had a
Probably
newer one that came out,
yeah, they had one that came out on the PlayStation 4.
and Deus
I
Ex,
played
dude. That's a huge title.
yeah, Deus Ex, Human Revolution. I played that. A lot of fun. That game was a blast. I know it Deus Ex, like all of these titles have kind of stood the test of time. These are actually really big popular titles.
Well, they Embracer Group bought it for, believe it was 300 million. Um,
Uh, y- yeah, the total purchase price amounts to 300 million US dollars
and
on a cash and debt free basis.
so to be paid in full at closing. So I think this is just the year, dude. I think a lot of the EA shareholders meeting, I believe it was the shareholders meeting where they said, there's a lot of acquisitions happening right now, a lot of big fish eating smaller fish. EA is the big fish, is what they said. So they're looking to buy things. So that's why the Warner Brothers stuff, I could see them trying. Same thing with Ubisoft. Um, but I don't know. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing with Embracer Group, right? I know of Embracer Group, but I'm not like that. I don't know that much about it. I just know that if it
Mhm.
means that we get better games and we get more games, then I'm all for it. I think a lot of these acquisitions are, for the most part, going to be very, very good for the consumer. I think we're going to
Yeah.
get a lot of good games. Thank God Activision and Blizzard got bought out because they were going to kill themselves. They were going to eat themselves from the inside out. Uh, but yeah, I mean, like I said, whenever Ubisoft gets bought out in a couple months, because I feel it happening, we'll probably
Mhm.
have an whole episode diving into the problems of Ubisoft, where they went wrong. Me and Nick will probably go back and play a lot of the old Ubisoft games. Um, with the Splinter Cells and old Assassin's Creed and all those kind of
Uh,
things.
which actually, um, with Ubisoft, the old Splinter Cell games, it sounds like. Uh, do you remember Ubisoft is actually shutting down a lot of the online multiplayer for those games,
Yeah, I did read that. Yeah, they're closing
which is
them.
a shame because you and I play like we'll hop on some Blacklist or Conviction
Absolutely.
every now and again.
That's the
It-
see that and that kind of fun I feel like has been is what's been missing the mark lately with a lot of these games, right? They're so focused on like microtransactions and all of these things, and they don't fix the core functions of their games,
I
right?
would actually really like to pull up the numbers for these major studios and just see how much of the profit that they make comes directly from um, in-game purchases.
Well, I think Ubisoft or not Ubisoft, EA, it was like in the billions, I
It's
think.
something crazy. I have no idea how we as the consumers allowed this to happen.
All of these us getting bad games and unfinished games, while it is obviously the studio for releasing it in that state, is just as much of our fault
Hmm.
because we buy the game, right? And that's why like Dice has dude, I'm so let down, and this is not to go back and kick on EA. That's like a dead horse, dude. And I've been,
You take
dude,
any shot that you could take, you take it.
I hate EA. Like I can't stand them. But like I don't trust Dice, right? So Dice has like this huge like we're not even gonna talk about it unless some huge news comes out about it. Like they're shutting Battlefield 2042 down.
I mean, it might as well because, like, looking at the player numbers, I don't know if you've seen it recently, but it's been
Well, the game's trash.
gross.
It's hot burning garbage. Like it's terrible. I'm not gonna get started on this. Anyways, uh we bought those games, right? Like I even against the advice of Nicholas pre-ordered that game and was so excited. We're done doing that, right? Like that's like we're buying games when they come out to review them so you don't have to buy them and be disappointed. But if we were not doing this, stop pre-ordering games. Stop being
Yeah.
hyped up about games. Like let them come out and let people review them and get away from the big huge like gaming media. Stop listening to them. Go find even
Let
if it's
us
not us, like even
let
if it's somebody else that's like an
manage
independent.
manage your expectations.
Yeah.
That's what I learned.
But that's pretty much
No.
it. Like I said, year of acquisitions. Well, I feel like we'll have another episode like this soon.
Yeah. A lot of moving chess pieces right now. It's really hard to tell what's gonna like happen next when it comes to this topic.
I think it's going to be, like I said, I think there's going to be a lot of news, a lot of these studios getting bought out, and we're going to talk about all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you guys for listening. Nicholas, anything else?
Appreciate every single one of you. And like always, you can go to our website, readysetlag.com. You can find the podcast there, links to all of our socials if you want to give us a follow. Best way to figure out what we're going to be doing and to keep yourself updated is to follow us on Twitter.
Also, if you're listening to this on whatever podcast platform, whether that be you're listening to it on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcast, please give the podcast a rating.
Yes,
It,
please.
it very much helps us out with new people being able to find us. So definitely, please do that. Leave a review, even if you hate it. Leave us a review telling us you hate it, and
Tell us why.
yeah. And I love you guys.
Love you so much.
Okay, bye.